Welcome to AYATIUM. Can you truly know every single physical fact about color, understanding its wavelengths, its interactions with light, and its neurological processing, yet still learn something profoundly new and unexpected when you finally experience the vivid sensation of seeing red for the very first time? This intriguing question delves into the depths of perception and knowledge. This profound and often debated question lies at the very heart of Mary's Room, a renowned thought experiment meticulously crafted to explore the intricate nature of knowledge, the limits of physical information, and the subjective aspects of consciousness itself. It challenges our understanding of what it means to truly know something. Imagine Mary, a brilliant and dedicated neuroscientist who has been confined to a black and white room since the moment of her birth. Her entire world is devoid of color, yet she studies the world through a monochrome monitor, diligently gaining complete and exhaustive knowledge of all the physical processes involved in color vision. She has access to every scientific paper, every experiment, and every piece of data concerning color. Mary understands every single wavelength of light, every neural firing pattern in the brain, and every complex chemical reaction involved in perceiving color. She possesses an encyclopedic knowledge of all the physics, biology, and chemistry that underpin color perception, from the photoreceptors in the eye to the visual cortex in the brain. Her theoretical understanding is absolute and comprehensive.
Yet, despite her vast theoretical knowledge, she has never directly experienced color in any form. One pivotal day, Mary steps out of her black and white room and, for the very first time in her life, sees a vibrant red rose. The experience is immediate, overwhelming, and entirely new to her senses, a stark contrast to her monochrome existence.
The central paradox of Mary's Room asks a fundamental question. Does Mary learn something genuinely new and previously unknown upon seeing red, or did her prior, exhaustive physical knowledge already encompass this entire experience, including the subjective sensation? This is the core dilemma that the thought experiment presents to us. The argument posits that if Mary does indeed learn something new, a piece of information she did not possess before, then physical facts alone are inherently incomplete in fully describing the richness and complexity of consciousness. This suggests that there is more to knowledge and experience than just purely physical information, hinting at non-physical aspects of reality. Is this new understanding a form of new propositional knowledge, a brand new fact or truth she didn't know before, like discovering a new scientific law? Or is it merely a new way of knowing an old fact, akin to experiencing something firsthand after only reading about it extensively in books? The distinction is crucial for understanding the nature of knowledge itself. One significant reply to this paradox is the ability hypothesis, which suggests that Mary doesn't gain new factual knowledge, but rather acquires a new ability, the ability to imagine red, to recognize red objects, or to recall the experience of red. However, critics argue that this hypothesis doesn't fully explain the subjective, what it's like, aspect of experiencing red, which seems to be more than just an ability. The acquaintance hypothesis proposes that Mary gains knowledge by acquaintance, a direct, non-propositional understanding of red that comes from direct experience rather than from facts or descriptions. Yet, even this perspective still implies a form of knowledge that is not entirely reducible to or derivable from purely physical facts, challenging the completeness of physicalism. Another prominent view, often termed the old fact, new mode theory, claims that Mary learns an old physical fact, the nature of red, but experiences it in a new experiential mode. However, this raises another critical question. Does a new mode of presentation or experience truly constitute new knowledge, or is it simply a different way of accessing information she already theoretically possessed? The debate continues. This thought experiment carries profound implications, especially for our understanding of artificial intelligence and the potential for AI consciousness. If Mary learns something genuinely new upon seeing red, can an AI truly replicate the richness of human experience and consciousness by processing only physical data and algorithms, no matter how complex? It questions the very foundation of AI's ability to achieve true sentience. It fundamentally challenges how we measure and define subjective experience, often referred to as qualia, the individual instances of subjective, conscious experience. The experiment asks whether these deeply personal and qualitative experiences can ever be fully captured, explained, or even predicted by objective, purely physical descriptions, or if there's an irreducible gap. Consider an analogy. Imagine reading a perfect, incredibly detailed description of chocolate, knowing every single chemical compound, every flavor profile, and every sensory nuance. You would understand it intellectually, possessing all the factual data about chocolate's composition and effects on the palate. But then, tasting that chocolate, experiencing its rich, complex flavor, its smooth texture, and its lingering aftertaste on your tongue is an entirely different and distinct form of knowledge. It's a direct, sensory understanding of what it's like experience that words and scientific descriptions alone, no matter how perfect, simply cannot fully convey or replicate. This experiential knowledge is unique. Mary's room vividly highlights the crucial distinction between merely knowing about something, possessing all the factual and theoretical information, and truly knowing what it's like to experience it firsthand. This distinction is central to the philosophical debate about consciousness and the nature of reality. Ultimately, it questions whether physicalism, the philosophical view that everything in the universe, including consciousness, is fundamentally physical, can fully and adequately account for the entirety of conscious experience, particularly the subjective, qualitative aspects known as qualia. It asks if physicalism is a complete theory of everything. So, after considering Mary's predicament and the various philosophical responses, where do you stand? Are you on Team Physicalism, believing that all knowledge and experience are ultimately reducible to physical facts? Or do you think there's something more to consciousness, something beyond what purely physical descriptions can capture that truly meets the eye?